What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and guys, it is time for our game review of the day. We only had one game on tap after a very busy and crazy Saturday night. Probably very entertaining for you guys. Make sure to check that out. That was really the big night of the week. But tonight we had some hockey to talk about, and it's mainly going to be focused on these two teams because that's pretty much all we have today. So I'm going to try and focus 5 minutes toward the Dallas Stars and 5 minutes toward the Ottawa Senators and try and get somewhere around that. I try to keep these around 10 minutes. So we're going to try and do that today. So we have the Dallas Stars heading into Ottawa. The storyline for both of these teams going into this game, it's been a rough start for the Dallas Stars. They just barely edged out a win at MSG against the Rangers. They did not play their best, but they still found a way to win a hockey game, which it does matter. But now they come in as a 1-1 team. And early on in the season, the difference between 2-1 and 1-2 seems pretty... It seems like a big deal, especially early in the year. And you knew that this game could be important. And you saw a couple of interesting things going into this game, especially on the Dallas Stars. So obviously, for the Ottawa Senators, no Brady Tkachuk yet. He is not back in the lineup. Not really that big of a surprise. No Victor Mete or Scott Sabourin. They were the three scratches for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Again, still no Matt Murray at this point. For the Dallas Stars, we saw some pretty big names scratched. John Klingberg and Jason Robertson both scratched for the Dallas Stars in this considerably a matinee game, a 5 o'clock start at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa. The starting goaltenders for this game for the Dallas Stars making his season debut, Anton Khudobin, trying to bounce back from a rough season earlier this year, and Philip Gustafson, who has become a rising prospect in the Ottawa Senators organization. And we're going to see a lot more of him this season along with Anton Forsberg, who is still listed as the starter. He got the first two starts against Ottawa, and Philip Gustafson gets a chance in this game. So those were the bigger storylines going into this game. Like I said, you have two teams, 1-1, coming into this game. The Dallas Stars, their games in Boston, where they lost, and a win in New York. Now going up to Ottawa. The Ottawa Senators had two games against the Toronto Maple Leafs, a victory at home in the Canadian Tire Center, and then losing last night in Toronto on the road. A tough one there. A game they probably, the Leafs pretty much rewrit the script on that first game and turned it into their favor in the second game. But the Ottawa Senators, they had a pretty promising start to the season. Again, this is without Brady Tkachuk as well. So early on into the game, the Ottawa Senators were pressing early. It seemed like the Senators were the team that got that extra leg up to start the game. They seemed ready to go, a couple of opportunities early. We wouldn't see a Dallas Stars shot for the first 5 minutes. Very early on, Jamie Benn and Josh Brown dropped the gloves a minute and 52 seconds into this game. Jamie Benn and Josh Brown, and they weren't holding back. They were going full-blown. They were giving each other big blows. A really good fight at center ice there. Really good fight. Great to see a little bit of energy from Jamie Benn. He hasn't had the best start to the season. And Josh Brown, he is that kind of enforcer, the sergeant on the blue line now, especially with a guy like Mark Borowiecki gone. A guy like Josh Brown has definitely had to take on that little bit more of an agitator role for, really to protect some of these young players like Pinto, Batherson, Stuchla. That's kind of his job. So we saw a nice little tilt early on. Josh Norris was robbed. A absolutely great save by Anton Khudobin. Khudobin had some really good saves in this game throughout the game. He played quite well tonight, and Josh Norris got absolutely robbed. The Sens had weak coverage in front of the net. I'm not really sure what happened there. It was a breakdown from one of the defensemen, and Michael Raffl was caught. He was wide open, right in between the dots at the bottom of the slot, right in the house of where the goaltender was standing. It was a one-on-one with Gustafson, and he just rifled it. Michael Raffl, a one-timer. The Sens just got caught staring at the puck, and they end up giving up a goal that they probably wish they could have had back. But you really can't blame Gustafson on that one. So far, a pretty good start for Gustafson, but there is that goal there. Ottawa, Nick Paul had a great game tonight, and one of the key elements of that was a great backhand shot. The defenseman was pressing him in front of the net. He somehow gets the shot off over the shoulder of Hudobin, and we're tied at 1 in this hockey game. A huge goal by Nick Paul, who, again, going to be talking about him a lot tonight. He had a great game for the Senators. But again, a little bit soft by the Dallas defenseman there. I don't remember who it was, but probably should have kept him a little further away where he couldn't even get that backhand shot off. Shane Pinto has kind of come in and had a pretty good start to the season. Him and Batherson had over 20 minutes of ice time. Shane Pinto had over 21 minutes and 12 seconds of ice time in the third game of this season. So you can see DJ Smith obviously sees a lot in Shane Pinto. That may lessen a little bit once Tkachuk comes back into the lineup, but Shane Pinto, another guy like Nick Paul, he has looked very good to start the season. Shane Pinto, speaking of Shane Pinto, he gets a power play goal. The announcer for the Senators called it a flutter ball, which was definitely an interesting way of looking at it, but it deflected off a couple bodies. Pinto kind of knocked it out of the air. It went off the post and in, and there you go. The Senators get a big goal. But again, soft coverage in front of the net from the Dallas Stars. So we're seeing it from both sides here, that little bit of soft coverage in the house. And that was a problem for both of these teams throughout the game, and there was a big goal there. Ottawa's Nick Paul, multiple chances. Again, I keep bringing up his name. He had a really good game, a couple odd man opportunities. Same thing for guys like Drake Batherson and Tim Stuchel. They almost scored one late in this one. They were really doing well. And then weak coverage in front of the net again. And this time it again looked like the Senators were puck watching. And Joe Pavelski coming from the top of this, by the blue line, coming in a little bit, finding a little bit of soft coverage at the top of the dots, gets the puck and fires it right in. And it's a 1-goal game again. So it's 3-1 Ottawa with 5 minutes left. Now it's a 3-2 game, and now it has given the Dallas Stars some confidence and a little bit of breathing room in order to maybe give themselves a chance at this comeback. Pull the goaltender, and you have a good, right? It's one shot at that point once it's a 1-goal game. Batherson and Stuchla looked very good tonight, and the Ottawa Senators, in a game where you could say they probably should have given this one up, maybe the last 3 or 4 years, in a 3-1 lead going into the third. The fact that they had a 3-1 lead going into the third is showing the improvement of the Ottawa Senators. I know people were very bullish on the Senators last year, and they disappointed. I think this is the year where the Ottawa Senators start to pick things up. Forsberg has looked very good in between the pipes, and so is Gustafson. If their goaltending can stay this good, they will have a chance this season. But there is some little things like the puck watching that has been an issue for the Senators, and that's for a young team. That is just something you have to go through. We are seeing that with some of these young Senators defensemen. And again, it's something you can only fix through experience and through good coaching, which DJ Smith has shown he can do with the Senators. I was very iffy on that hiring at the time, but DJ Smith has looked like a good head coach so far for the Senators, and this is a guy. Hopefully, if they miss the playoffs, I hope they don't make that bad decision of firing him too soon, because I still do see a lot of potential with DJ there in Ottawa, and especially with his little one-hitters like that one earlier this week with Tkachuk, saying he's like a Christmas present, you just have to wait to open. That little stuff like that, especially in Ottawa, which there's been a lot of tension in that city. He just seems like a guy that's just a perfect fit for where the Senators are right now and where they're looking to go in the next couple of seasons. So just to recap, Michael Raffl and Nick Paul got goals in the first period. In the second period, it was all Ottawa, 2 goals from Chris Tierney. Actually, that Shane Pinto goal turned into a Tierney goal. So Tierney scored 2 goals tonight. He's got 2 and 3 on the season, both on the power play, and just over 10 minutes apart from each other. He scored in the final minute of the second And halfway through the second, again, both power play goals. Joe Pavelski would cut the lead to a 1-goal lead, his first of the season in the third, late in the third, but that was too little too late. The stars of the game, Philip Gustafson, third star of the game. He had a pretty nice game overall. He stopped 32 of 34 shots. Not too bad. Actually, no, 33 of 34, right? Because 32 of 33, because the one was an empty netter. Oh, no. 32 of 34. Yeah, guys, it's been a long day. He stopped 32 of 34, which is still pretty good in his season debut. Connor Brown also had a pretty solid game for himself, a couple of assists. And Chris Tierney, obviously, with the 2 goals, he gets the first star of the game. 2 power play goals, 2 goals on the game, 2 and 3 on the season, and also the game winner. That's going to be enough for Chris Tierney to get the first star. The Ottawa Senators here early on, we saw it in the Leaf games. We saw it again here in this Dallas Stars game. Their face-off percentage has not been great. 43.9%, under 45% now in 3 games, both against the Leafs and this one against the Dallas Stars. That's something that they're probably going to have to clean up here as the season goes along. And that's not something you're going to get improvement from in Tkachuk. Tkachuk is a winger, so that's something they're going to have to figure out. Now, the good news for the Ottawa Senators, 2 for 3 on the power play. They looked pretty solid. They were pretty dominant on their power plays, and you just knew that they had a chance to score some goals because they were firing on all cylinders. So give the Senators some credit there. That's a team that has struggled on the power play in years past recently. Looked pretty good here through the first 3 games of their season. For the other side, for the Dallas Stars, though, they were 0 for 2 on the power play tonight. Not really the best stuff there. Maro Heiskanen is the minute muncher this season, along with Ryan Suter on the back end for the Dallas Stars. And I wonder if some of that had to do with the John Klingberg being scratched situation. It relied more on those guys like Suter and Heiskanen, just that much more. With that said, I'm honestly pretty impressed with what I've seen from the Ottawa Senators so far. I think the Dallas Stars, they got some issues they have to work out. Not really the best start from them. I'm not really too impressed with what I've seen from the Stars this season so far. With that said, we are not going to see either of these teams play for a couple of nights. The Ottawa Senators don't play until Thursday night when they host Erik Karlsson, returning back to Ottawa as they take on the San Jose Sharks. And then for the Dallas Stars, it doesn't look like they're going to be playing for a while for themselves. It looks like they will be playing again. Man, they get a real break here. It looks like next Friday against the Los Angeles Kings. So they get almost a week off. I'm not really sure how that worked out. They did both play back-to-backs, which might have had something to do with it. But the Dallas Stars go back home. They're going to have their home opener on Friday. And then for the Ottawa Senators, Thursday night, they host Erik Karlsson. So both these teams on a little bit of a homestand after this one. I think the Ottawa Senators have given themselves a chance 2-1 to start this season. They have the best goal differential in their division. They're actually first in the wild card race ahead of Tampa, Washington, Detroit, the Rangers, Boston. They're in pretty good company. Now, with that said, it is only 3 games into the season. Take with this what you will. But, man, I like what I've seen from the Ottawa Senators. Just a very energetic young franchise. And we're seeing DJ Smith put a little bit of structure under them as well. So, guys, let me know what you think of this game in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Ottawa Senators? And what do you think of the Dallas Stars? I think these are 2 teams heading in different directions. The Dallas Stars may be on their decline sooner than maybe we thought. This may be the season that we see the Stars take that step back. For the Ottawa Senators, it looks like they could only make steps forward as they continue to rise and build off that momentum from last season and building together a pretty good campaign here through the first week of the season here in the 2021-2022 NHL season. Guys, I will see you again tomorrow morning. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, make sure to check out our Streamlabs shop. I will see you again next time.